College of Health here. Today I just want to talk about why you need to support Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the solution to inflation. It is a perfect money for three main reasons. It is decentralized. It is on the proof of work system, and it has a finite supply. Humanity has been needing this type of money. Most people don't even know it yet. At least 99%, if not more, of people have not studied Bitcoin for at least 100 hours. We are way early in the cycle of what Bitcoin could become. There's not even very many nation states that are like, the bigger top 20 nations that are stockpiling it yet. There's not any major top S&P companies that are stockpiling it yet. It's super early. Number one, it's decentralized. There's no counterparty risk. No one owns the protocol. It's just out there, and it doesn't favor any one group or entity. It's completely neutral. So like in let's say places with hyperinflation, let's say like Turkey or a place like that, you can give them $100. It'll be worth $50 by the end of that day in some places. So for the sake of humanity, supporting people in those places that can buy Bitcoin and actually preserve their buying power. Also, war-torn countries where people are persecuted. There's a lot of persecution in countries, and people have to flee. If they get caught, their assets are seized. What they can do, they can store their assets in Bitcoin, memorize either a 12 or 24 word seed phrase, and they don't have to have anything physical on them. They can flee to another country and retrieve their money. They don't have anything that can be stolen from them. So, just for the sake of humanity, for inflation, we need to realize how important Bitcoin is, right? And the people that have studied and done the work, they're being rewarded for it, because Bitcoin is like reaching new all-time highs like all the time right now. So it's a really good thing. It kind of does anything gold could do, but better. It's proof of work, which most cryptos are not proof of work. So it actually has energy backing it. It's just not made from nothing. It has a lot of energy behind it, which I think is huge. I would recommend you research why proof of work is so important. It is a finite supply. It tracks the global M2, which is global liquidity, how much money is printed globally. Bitcoin tracks that closer than any other asset known to man. 83% of the time, it is tracking exactly in line with the global liquidity. Let's see, decentralized, proof of work, finite supply. Yeah, those are the main three things to look into. I challenge you, spend 100 hours studying Bitcoin. There's some good videos. I'm trying to remember what they're called, but yeah, there's a bunch of good stuff. And a lot of it, my conviction was following Chris Johnson, Wealth Squad Chris, on Twitter. I've been following him for years, and I started seeing how he was all in on it. Like, he sold, like, I want to say like 10 of his rental properties just to put it all into Bitcoin. So seeing that level of conviction, I read the Broken Money book, and there's a lot of other books out there, Bitcoin Standard and different things. I've watched a lot of podcasts. I would say watch the interviews with Michael Saylor on the What is Money podcast. It's some of the first interviews he ever did. But yeah, basically Bitcoin is like, it's revolutionary technology in money. And you also have to understand how badly we need it, because we print money, we're forced to support all these wars and different things, whether we believe it or not, through inflation and taxing. And, the Federal Reserve is a whole entity that really isn't even supposed to be part of the government. It really technically isn't. So, I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something along those lines, but, yeah, it puts the power back in the hands of the people. It's like a perfect money technology. And if you're doubtful of that, at least study it out. I mean, it has blown away the performance of the S&P 500. It's blown away gold, any asset, real estate. Real estate, I just want to touch on real quick. We put all this money into a house, or say you rent houses out. To make money on it, you have to hope that the price keeps raising. But then people that are struggling due to inflation or different things, they struggle to pay those higher prices. So for the sake of humanity, I'm not saying a home is like a total negative investment. You can be a good landlord and all that. Like, someday I might have like one rental property or something, but I'm way more likely to put way more amount of money in Bitcoin, because to profit off of real estate, the price of the house has to rise, and that makes it harder for people to just live. It's like kind of like a slavery system. So, I mean, I'd much rather support Bitcoin. What I do, I personally, I'll tell you right now, I put 20% of everything I make into Bitcoin. And I know the maximalists put like 100%. I have been buying some of the MSTY as well quite a bit for the past few months. Well, maybe over a month. I've been accumulating some of that. That is to get some options on the MSTR. I'm not huge on the Yield Max funds, but Schwab doesn't let me buy MSTR like fractional shares, and so I can trade around this. And then also a big goal of mine, my main goal with stocks is growth, but maybe my second or third biggest goal is dividend income, so that it can free me up to do some different things if I can rely on that income. So that it could be a slightly riskier play, and it's like tied into Bitcoin, because that's the main reason MSTR kind of moves. So I do have some of that as well. I view it as make kind of a Bitcoin income play, and if my income gets high enough, I could eventually just buy the MSTR. But mainly Bitcoin. Like, I would put Bitcoin above all that, stocks or anything. So I put like 20% just straight into Bitcoin, right? And some people's convictions levels are even higher. Maybe I will be someday. I'm really pro diversification myself. But as I study it more, it's like sometimes I think, oh, maybe I should do even more, you know. So that's where I'm at with it anyway. 20%, I have this account that's for like, I'm saving for a house, and that's various things, but generally like a lot of safer bond type stuff. But I have uh I have a couple of like high yield bond stuff. The 3 month treasury is kind of the main thing actually right now. A little bit of the SWVXX that's like 4% yield. I do have some Misty in there. Some EPD. I have some of the TLT in that one. There's some closed-end funds I'm looking at that I might add to that one. And then 60% goes into just overall stocks, trying to grow, trying to diversify. Yeah, very diversified. Looking at the materials sector right now is what's lagging. I believe it's XLB. Looking to pick up some of that once it stops going down. SCHD right now. There's a lot of oil stocks tanking, but I'm starting to get to where I have a good enough allocation to the oil and energy, but maybe a little more on those as well. Materials, Dow, LYB, once they start going down, because I don't have a huge allocation on materials. XLB. There's some closed-end funds I'm looking at. Yeah, CART. I bought a share of CART today, which is is it Instacart, I think? Yeah, the stock is CART. And just, yeah, and I look at high dividends. Nvidia has kind of had a pullback, so once that stops going down, um, that I, that's a solid one. Yeah. The defense I find is in diversification and asset allocation. You know, you want a certain amount in like maybe a real estate type of stock, energy, consumer goods, information technology. So you kind of want to spread it out through different sectors, and you're trying to buy low, sell high. And I very minimally sell. Like, I do trim on some highs, but like I've really pulled back on, because you can trim too much. So like Tesla, yeah, it's skyrocketing, and I sold one at 350, and I was thinking of selling another one at 400, and I'm like, no, it's going too fast. And I was thinking of selling one at 450, but honestly, I'm just gonna hold them. I'm actually just hoping for a pullback to add more of that, because long term I believe in that. And again, oil stocks are just, a lot of them are down. You can look at the ConocoPhillips, Phillips 66, OXY, APA. I'm not sure what Chevron and ExxonMobil are doing right now, but look at those. BP. So those are some. Most of those I mentioned I own, besides the ConocoPhillips and Phillips 66. But I got my eyes on those too. All those other ones I own already, at least, you know, some of them not very much, maybe one share or whatever, but on the ExxonMobil. But yeah, the point of this is basically for the sake of humanity and for your own self, you need to own Bitcoin. What happens if the government tries to seize all your assets? Once you study it, you realize you could just memorize a key phrase and go to a different country. It is for humanity's sake to support this. It's a very serious thing, and to understand it, you have to understand how broken our current monetary system is. There's a lot of evil involved. And when you have a ethically sound, morally neutral money that does everything money should do but better, it's worth supporting. And generally the S&P 500, that just mirrors inflation. So you're just kind of preserving what you already have. To get wealthy, you have to make more than that, which Bitcoin does. So, all right, study it for just 100 hours. If you still don't want to do it, so be it, but just at least study it. At least read the Bitcoin Standard, Broken Money, watch the Michael Saylor series on What is Money. At least do that. Like, we applaud kids that go to college and, get degrees. Why not applaud kids if they beat the S&P 500? Why not applaud kids if they start making generational wealth? Like, a college degree is good if it's something you're actually going to use, but the statistics are getting less and less that these degrees are even useful. We got to change our paradigm. All right, guys. Peace.